Hello lovely people and welcome to this week's video. My name is Philippa and I teach yoga in Mid Wales in the UK. If you're not subscribed to my channel, do think about giving me a thumbs up and subscribing. It all really helps. And if you like what we're doing here, then making a comment at the end is really good as well. So today we're going to be working with movements and postures that work with the Manipura Chakra. So that's the solar plexus area of the body here. And I'm going to suggest that, I'm going to be using a bolster like this at the beginning and the end. If you haven't got something like this, then a big rolled up blanket would be fine, or a couple of pillows or something. And also I'm going to be using a soft block like this. If you haven't got one of those, then again a folded blanket or a book even would be fine. So we're going to begin actually in a very lovely supine position. So I've got my block there and I'm going to have my bolster right up close to it here, so they're close together. And what we're going to do is we're going to lie down on top of this, but with our sort of Manipura area shining up. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. So I'm going to sit on top of my bolster like this, so I'm almost sort of on the front of it, and then drop myself down. So I've got the bolster kind of, it's under my pelvis, but it's kind of slightly upwards towards my lower back. And what this means is that this part of my body is shining upwards like this. I've got my head on the ground, I've got my shoulders on the back of my shoulders on the block. So if this isn't comfortable for you, then just find a position that is, and it might just be without these things, just lying on the ground or even on a chair. And we're just going to be here for a moment. So just relaxing. You can close the eyes or lower the gaze. Just come into a comfortable place here. So the Manipura Chakra here is to do with self-confidence and assertiveness. Our ability to really turn up for ourselves in the world. It's about decision making. And it is the colour yellow. So it's nice to envisage in here, in the centre of your body, this beautiful yellow light emanating in and out. And we can just take a couple more breaths here, just really enjoying this place of opening and being with the Manipura Chakra. Lovely. So maybe just one more breath, and then I'm going to invite you to get rid of your props and come back into this position, but on the ground. So same position but without the props, and we're going to bring our arms out to shoulder height along the ground. Just take a look up at your knees, make sure that they are directly above your hips. And just for a moment we'll take a couple of pelvic tilts. So just drop the lumbar spine down to the ground, allowing the tailbone just to curl. It's not lifting. And one more of those. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine, and we're just going to drop the knees over to one side, rolling on the feet, and look over the other arm. So just being aware of this area here in the Manipura, and then coming back up to the top and rolling over the other way. Beautiful. So we're going to come back to the centre. I'm going to invite you to lift one leg up, it doesn't really matter which one you do, and taking that foot out, taking the foot onto the knee, and then the top knee going out a bit to the side. And then we're just going to do the same movement, so going down with the body and looking over the other shoulder, and this foot might drop down to the ground. And then coming back up and changing over the side. So while you're doing this, really see if you can focus in, pushing out that knee gently. Focus in on the Manipura Chakra, the midriff, the centre of the body as you drop. So we're twisting this, lovely, breathing here, just letting your leg do, it feels very different on me to me on this side. So just being with what is, not trying to be anything that you're not. Lovely. And then from here we're going to come up to a seated position. So I like to sit on a soft block. You don't have to, but if it's helpful, it really helps me to sit up. And sitting cross-legged, if that's good for you. If it's not, then you can be like this, or like this, or whatever suits you, or even on a chair is fine. So we're going to take a moment here, being in this upright sitting position, imagining yourself being pulled up by a thread, rooting down into the earth. And then we're going to take some big circles. So we're going to hold on to the knees and circling the body all the way around in big circles here. And I'm going to invite you to have your attention again on the Manipura and imagine that it's leading the way. So it's like your belly button, or just above your belly button, is leading the way. Next time you come to the front, pause for a moment and then we'll go back the other way. So all the way around, beautiful. Lovely, then we're going to come back to stillness for a moment, just feel the effects of the practice. And then I'm going to invite you to come over to all fours. So I like to use my soft block under my knees. You don't have to, you can have a blanket or nothing at all, just doing whatever is right for you. And coming forward with really splayed fingers, sprayed out to the sides. Knees under the hips. And we're going to inhale, imagining ourselves as a proud lion on the hunt, looking forwards. And then angry cat, so taking the spine up to the ceiling. Inhaling, feeling that Manipura there, feeling that stretching through. And exhale, as you exhale, really imagining that area touching the spine. Couple more of these, remembering we're emanating the colour yellow as we do this. Beautiful. So we're going to now come back to a neutral spine here, and we're going to pretend that we have got a donut or a hula hoop or something around the middle of the body. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and, with this area here, trying to touch the inside of this hula hoop or this donut. So you're taking the middle of the body round and around the inside of the donut. And next time you come down to the lowest part, we're going to stop and go back the other way. So it's very similar to what we've just done, sitting, but we're doing it in this position, and it really does get that area going. Beautiful. And then coming back to your neutral position. So from here now, we're just going to come back and step backwards into our toe squat, everyone's favourite position. So this is where you've got the toes tucked. If this is really intense, which it is for some people, coming up onto high kneeling. If you've got a nice block like me, that's really good. But if it's okay to sit back on the toes, it's really good for the toes. So you might not be able to do it for very long. Just see what happens. And then from here, we're going to come forward into the Sphinx, and we're going to do it in a slinky way. So I'm going to take my block away. What we're going to do is, from our toe squat, we're going to take the hands and slide forwards in a slinky way until you reach the top of your mat. Drop the elbows down and then slink the body forward. So you've got the elbows underneath the shoulders, sun ray fingers, and we're shining the heart forwards. And it's almost like you're grabbing hold of the mat and slightly pulling yourself forwards. And this is where we can really feel this Manipura here. Feel this area in the centre of the body. So as you breathe in, feeling it dropping down towards the mat. As you breathe out, feeling that place moving more towards the middle of the body. Couple more breaths here. Beautiful. And then from here we're going to come into a seal pose. Now this can be really intense, so if it's not for you, then just stick with what we're doing, or you could decide to come and do a couple of cobras instead, with focusing on that area of the middle of the body. But if you feel like you'd like to have a go at this, we've got the hands in this place from the Sphinx, and what we're doing is we're pressing into the hands, straightening the arms a little bit. We're kind of taking the hands out a bit to the side. This is why it's called seal, because they're a bit like flippers. And then we're looking slightly up, but don't crank the head back. And this is where you can really feel that area in the Manipura, the centre of the body there. Breathing into that place. Now if this is too much, please don't do this if it hurts your back. Beautiful. And then we're going to drop down, and I'm going to invite you to take the feet out to the sides, hands coming underneath the head, and we can wiggle the hips from side to side in the crocodile. And then if you want an extra bit of counter pose, we can come backwards, dropping the head down and coming into the rabbit. And this really opens the back where we've just been crunching it together. Wonderful. So bringing your block back underneath your knees if you were using it. And we're going to briefly again come through the toe squat, being upright, whatever you need to do. And then we're going to come and do some lunges. So this is a little sequence we're doing. So we're going to come up to high kneeling and step forward with one leg. It doesn't matter which one you do. Now, I'm not doing what I often do, which is to come forward, like really forwards into a big stretch here. That's not what we're doing. We're not focusing so much on the hips, it's more on this place. So we're just going to have the hands here for a moment, breathing. And then we're going to bring the hands down and drop them either side of this foot. And just for a moment, focusing on that area, so it will be to the side of the knee there, breathing here. And then we're going to raise the arms up and shining open this area here, shining it forwards, the colour yellow radiating forwards. Then we're going to bring the hands together and bring them down in front of the heart into prayer position. And from here we're going to twist towards this leg, so twisting towards the leg, trying to keep everything going. So the top of the body's coming this way and the bottom of the body's staying that way. And then from here, we're going to see if we can come and rest the knee, the elbow rather, on that knee. And once you're there, if you can do that, you can then use that elbow to help you to twist a little bit further and look up behind you. And then from here, I'm going to invite you, if you want to to raise the top arm up, drop the bottom arm down. So you're in the same position, but you're rooted down and rising up. And then only if you want to, you can either just stay here. If you want to, you can lift the back knee. Again, still focusing on the colour yellow, the Manipura Chakra, as you look up at the top arm, breathing here. Beautiful. And then we can drop down and we'll take a moment in the child, so bringing the knees wide, dropping down onto the heels, hands underneath the head if you want to. Taking a moment, and then we'll do it on the other side. Okay, so I've turned around, so I'm not going to be facing away from you. So same thing, from your toe squat, rising up. So you're going to take the other knee forwards. And again, just in a sort of swastika position here. And then we'll take the hands down either side of that foot, a couple of breaths here. Before we then rise the arms up, shining through the Manipura, radiating the colour yellow, bringing the hands together in front of the heart, and then twisting the top of the body, trying to keep the lower body in the same position. And then when you're ready, dropping down, the elbow coming down onto that knee, which can then just help you to lever yourself a little bit further round, if that suits you. And then top arm up, lower arm down, and only you can stay there, or if you want to raise the back heel, twisty lunge, looking up at the top arm. Lovely, and then dropping back down, and again we'll take a little moment in the child. So knees out to the sides, dropping the bottom down. If this doesn't work for you, you can roll onto your back and do it on your back instead. Taking a good sigh out. Okay, so we're going to come up and do a little bit in the dog. Now, this can be quite an intense pose for some people, and we're going to do a twist in it that can be a bit intense. So if you don't want to do it from the dog, then I'm going to show you the modification. So the modification is to stay here. I mean, you can always do the first bit of the dog and then come back down, because we're going to raise the arm up in the dog and then bring the hand around and touch the other leg. So you can just bring it through and touch. So if I do it this way to show you, bringing through and touch the get hold of the outside of that leg, just be above the knee, and then see if you can look under your armpit and do a twist from here. So that's the modification. So we're going to come forward into the dog first of all. So sun ray fingers, long cat here, sun ray fingers, tucking the toes, raising up the hips, keeping the knees nice and bent here. Maybe take a couple of stretches of the hamstrings and maybe a little bit of a wiggle, just to enjoy what you're doing for a moment. Lovely. And then we'll come back into a into just a gentle resting place with the knees slightly bent. Lovely. And then from here you can either come down and do what I just showed you in kneeling, or if you want to have a go from the dog, raising one arm up, looking at that arm, and then we're going to take that hand through and see if we can grab hold of the opposite leg. Couple of breaths here, we're not going to stay here for long. And then bring that arm back. If you want to have a rest, come down and have a rest. Otherwise, we're going to go straight up to the other side. And if you're doing it from down below, well done for listening to your body. Couple of breaths here, shining through from the Mariposa
Coming back through centre, and let's just take a moment here, whether you're in all fours or the dog, just tuning into this. If you're in the dog, thinking about the Manipura dropping itself, being connected, radiating yellow light. And then we're going to come down again, knees wide, big toes together, and have a moment in the child. So from here, we're going to come very briefly back up through the dog, and then walking feet towards hands, hands towards feet, coming into your standing forward bend. So from here, I'm going to invite you just to, for a moment, to come up to a flat back with straightish knees. And then we're going to bend the knees and see if you can imagine yourself almost dropping backwards, sitting backwards, while we bring the arms out in front. Then we're going to bring the hands up. So this is chair pose, really intense. Really great for that area of the midriff, particularly round the back there. Lovely. And then from here we're going to do the same as we've just done, bringing the hands together in the front of the heart and turning, twisting the top of the body, trying to keep the knees the same, trying to keep the bottom of the body the same. If you can bring your elbow down onto your knee comfortably, and that can help you to do the twist, but that might not be possible, in which case just stay like this. If you need a rest, have a rest, or you can come straight back up to the chair, and then we're just going to do it on the other side. So hands together in prayer position, coming around the other side, trying to make sure the knees stay in the same place, only coming down onto the knee if that suits you. And then we'll come back through the chair, and then we'll stand up very briefly into our Tadasana. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you now about the breathing practice that we're going to do this week. I'm just going to describe it and show it to you, and then I'm going to invite you to turn the video off, practice it for a little bit, and then come back if that suits you. So, it's called the Kapalabhati, which I think translates as something like shining skull. It's really very good for this part of the body. Well, this is where it comes from, but actually it's good, it's just generally very, very good. And I think the reason it's called shining skull is it's meant to really open the third eye, and you know. But anyway, so we're going to work for its benefits around here. So in this breath, the breath actually emanates from here. And the reason for that is because what you're doing is you are using a sharp exhale that's coming from here. Now I'm going to invite, because I'm not with you, you know, I can't see you and all that we do this very, very gently. So we're not doing a big sharp breath. We're doing a gentle, but it has to be a sharp breath for you to get what's happening here. So what's happening, if you watch my belly, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but if you watch my belly, when I do this, you'll see what I mean. If I put my hand on there, maybe you can see it a bit more. So what's happening is I'm not doing it hard, it's just a gentle but sharp breath that is actually, it's an exhale that's coming from here, from where the Manipura is. And what that does is it means that you don't have to even think about the inhale. So the inhale just comes by itself. So just practice it for a few breaths with me. And you'll see how the inhale just comes by itself. So I'm going to invite you to be in a nice comfortable position like this. Stop the video, get yourself into a really comfortable position, practice it for about, say, 5 minutes or so, and then come back in for the counter poses.
Lovely. Well, I hope you enjoyed your breathing practice, and now we're going to come and just do a couple of counter poses before the relaxation. So we're going to start by coming into a Dandasana pose like this. So just sitting, legs out in front, feet flexed and moving towards you, hands down by the sides. Breathing from here, feeling this place here. And then we're just going to gently walk the hands forward, trying to keep the back straight for a moment. And then we're just going to drop the head down, let the weight of the head down. If you really feel it a lot in the legs, it's fine to bend the legs. This is a gentle pose. Beautiful. And then we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to take the hands behind and facing in towards the buttocks a little bit, bringing the knees bent like this. We're going to do a reverse tabletop, but just a very gentle one. We're not going to go very far, and we're not going to stay there long. So we're going to, as we inhale, just lifting the hips and then coming back down. Beautiful. And then finally, we're going to do what we did at the beginning, just rolling the knees down to one side and then coming back over and rolling to the other side, looking the other way. Wonderful. So do that once more each side, looking over the opposite arm. And then I'm going to invite you, if you had props at the beginning and you were up in the supine position like that, to find your props, and we'll do that for the relaxation. So if that position at the beginning of the practice didn't really suit you, then just do your Shavasana. But if you liked it, then we're going to come back into it. So sitting on the top of the bolster or blanket or whatever it is you're using, dropping down onto your block, making sure it's in the middle, which mine isn't. And so you've got the head on the ground, arms out to the side. Just shift your whatever you've got under your bottom so that it's kind of more to the top of your pelvis rather than low down. Arms out to the side. Now if this is comfortable like this with the knees bent, then that's great, and that's probably better for your back. But if you feel like you would like to take your legs out long, because this really opens up the whole front of the body here, and we can really shine this yellow light. We can really receive the yellow light and shine the yellow light here in the Manipura. So if this is comfortable for you, then do that. Otherwise, just do whatever is right for you. And we're just going to be here for a few breaths. So whichever position you're in, staying there as long as you like. Don't just move because I do. So thank you so much for supporting me. I really enjoy making these videos and I really love the response. And as I said at the beginning, if you like what I do and you would like to subscribe, please do. And making a comment is always really helpful. And if you want to donate, which I have a few people who receive the videos by email and they donate to me each week, then you are very welcome to do that, and you can contact me via the email at the beginning and end of the video to make that happen. So thank you again so much. Namaste.